Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. From nearly the start of our series, we've followed Zoro's journey as a pirate in search of achieving his goal of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. And this is gonna happen through a duel against Hawkeye Mihawk, the current holder of that title. However, his journey as a pirate only started because Luffy, who had saved him from incarceration, actually invited him to join his crew. So this makes many fans want to know what would have happened if Luffy hadn't met Zoro, and what could have been the fate of our great swordsman. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how Zoro's fate would have been if he had still remained a bounty hunter, and the possibility that he may not have been able to achieve his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like, and even subscribe, and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it keeps motivating us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, Zoro's life as a bounty hunter began before he joined the Straw Hat crew. And through those past experiences, Zoro had acquired a relentless pursuit of challenges and an unwavering determination to become the greatest swordsman in the world. Now we know that Luffy was responsible for saving Zoro's life, but if Zoro hadn't met Luffy, there would really only be two other fates for him. The first would be that he would have lost his life to the Navy, and then the second one is that Zoro would have found a way to escape and go back on his journey as a bounty hunter just like before. As a bounty hunter, Zoro roamed the seas in search of wanted pirates and criminals, and used his swordsmanship skills to engage and capture these targets. Now he likely accepted missions from bounty agencies or worked independently, tracking and confronting dangerous individuals for the financial rewards. This phase of Zoro's life was characterized by epic battles and very dangerous encounters, and he had already likely faced countless formidable opponents, from powerful pirates to other bounty hunters seeking fame and fortune themselves. Zoro's reputation as a skilled and ruthless swordsman had certainly spread among the people who had lived in the East Blue, making him recognized even by the Marines. Also during this time, Zoro had honed his combat skills and refined his sword techniques, and he would likely have engaged in intense training and perfected his fighting style, at least to the point that he'd already gotten into, seeking to overcome every opponent that he ever encountered, all the while still keeping his eyes on the prize of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. Now Zoro's mental discipline and devotion to the way of the sword were instrumental in his growth as an exceptional swordsman. Aside from battles, Zoro's life as a bounty hunter may have also been quite lonely in certain ways. As an individual focused on his personal quest, he might have kept himself aloof from deeper emotional connections and then preferred to work independently. However, it's possible that he had built brief relationships with other bounty hunters or people who had crossed his path during his various missions. Now, while Zoro's life as a bounty hunter has been a challenging and confrontational journey, it's still important to note that joining the Straw Hat crew was a very significant turning point in his life, because by teaming up with Luffy and the other crew members, Zoro found a greater purpose and a family of comrades who shared his dreams and values. So Zoro's life as a bounty hunter before joining the Straw Hats was a time when he sought out challenges and faced danger as a skilled swordsman. His quest to build his swordsmanship and his desire to become the greatest swordsman in the world shaped his journey and really prepared him for the future challenges that he would face as a member of Luffy's crew. But if Zoro hadn't joined the Straw Hat crew in One Piece, his life and trajectory could have taken a completely different path. Now, considering his abilities, ambitions, and personality, there are several intriguing possibilities for how Zoro could have moved on in his own journey. Initially, without Luffy and the Straw Hats' influence, Zoro would have likely just continued to pursue his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. Being skilled from a very young age, he would have sought to challenge even more and greater powerful swordsmen in the world, looking to hone his skills and achieve the ultimate level in his own swordsmanship. One possibility might be that Zoro decided to become a bounty hunter in the first place to strengthen his reputation and look for more worthy challenges. This way he could engage in epic clashes with other bounty hunters, famous pirates, and even members of the world government, all the while honing his combat skills and seeking out more legendary swords. Another option would have been Zoro to seek improvement through the practice of kendo, a Japanese sword fighting style that emphasizes rigorous training and mental discipline. He could have joined a renowned dojo and trained under the tutelage of a kendo master, constantly challenging himself in search of personal improvement as well as technical mastery. The purpose of this training would be to seek out much more powerful people so that he could master enough skills to be able to challenge enemies more skilled than him in the future. For instance, like Mihawk, who had reached the top among all other swordsmen. Additionally, Zoro could have chosen to become a bodyguard or a mercenary, offering his services as a skilled swordsman to whomever was willing to pay the highest price. And in this role, he could have faced powerful and dangerous enemies, protecting clients, or even carrying out dangerous missions in exchange for the financial rewards. Now, whichever path Zoro would have chosen to take, it's likely that he would have faced numerous challenges and hardships along the way, and his determined nature and iron will would have led him to overcome those obstacles, defeating formidable enemies, and grow even further as a swordsman. However, it's important to point out that despite his exceptional skills, Zoro might not have had the same level of growth and development that he achieved when he joined the Straw Hats. Through the various interactions and relationships that he'd built with different crew members, especially Luffy, Zoro had been challenged and inspired to go beyond his own limits and discover new facets of his strength as well as his determination. By joining the Straw Hats, Zoro found a family and a crew that supported him unconditionally, as well as a greater cause to fight for, and his symbolic relationship with Luffy, as well as the rest of the crew, has allowed him to grow not only as a swordsman, but as a trusted ally, a loyal friend, and a human being to boot. So even if Zoro hadn't joined the Straw Hat crew, he would have likely still pursued his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world through various alternate paths. For instance, as a bounty hunter, kendo practitioner, or even a mercenary, as I just mentioned. But again, as I just said, his journey would have been very different, and he would not have experienced the same amount of personal growth, as well as developed those deep bonds of friendship that he made with the Straw Hats. Had Zoro continued being a pirate hunter without joining the Straw Hats and meeting Luffy in One Piece, his life would have been marked by a series of deadly challenges, and potentially he could have lost his life, and that would have been a very real possibility. As that lone pirate hunter, Zoro would have been constantly facing dangers on the high seas, and he would have had to deal with notorious pirates as well as dangerous criminals who were willing to fight to the death to avoid capture. And encounters with a skilled pirate captain or even numerous crews would have been a common occurrence in their relentless pursuit of different bounties and goals. Without the support of a loyal crew and friends, Zoro would also be at a disadvantage in multiple situations. Facing powerful pirates in individual battles would have been a huge challenge, and the lack of a charismatic captain like Luffy to lead and inspire his team would have put his life at greater risk. The loneliness and lack of camaraderie that accompany that solitary life of being a pirate hunter could have affected his morale as well as his ability to face greater adversity with confidence, mentally weakening Zoro. On top of that, facing enemies with high bounties would also attract the attention of other bounty hunters. Zoro would be very valuable prey, and rival pirate hunters with comparable or even superior skills might see him as an opportunity to increase their own reputation and fortune. This would create this endless cycle of dangerous battles where survival would depend on Zoro's ability to overcome his opponents. Another factor to consider as well is the influence of the world government. Even though he worked as a bounty hunter, Zoro could have been pursued by Marine forces who were relentless in enforcing justice, and the target on his back could even attract admirals and other high-ranking officials, putting him in direct confrontations with some of the most powerful warriors in the One Piece world. The battle against these foes too could be overwhelming and result in fatal consequences for Zoro. However, it's worth noting that Zoro is still an incredibly skilled and determined swordsman and would be in this alternate situation, so his rigorous training and willpower would help him survive many of those difficult situations. After all, Zoro does have incredible resilience and an inner strength that drives him to overcome his limits. However, even with his exceptional skills, it's impossible to foresee every dangerous situation he could have found himself in as a lonely pirate hunter. And let's also not forget the fact that Zoro doesn't exactly have the greatest sense of direction, so having friends who can tell which way is which and getting him to his goal would be an essential piece of that puzzle for Zoro. And at the end of the day, Zoro may not have just been as lucky as Mihawk was, becoming a swordsman alone and seeking his goals in a solitary fashion. And it's for that reason that there would have been a greater chance that Zoro would have lost his life even sooner before reaching his dream. But with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. What do you think would have been Zoro's route had he not met Luffy and joined the Straw Hats? Do you think he would have made it as far or even further because he had to overcome everything on his own? Or like us, do you think that maybe through those bonds, that was what really led Zoro to the greatest amount of growth he could have ever had? Next, when do you think we're going to get to see that fated showdown between Zoro and Mihawk, and how do you think it's going to end? In other videos, we've talked about this possibility and put forth our own ideas, but we'd love to know what you think. So let us know what you believe and what you think will happen in the future in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video today, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure to comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.